ZVP on Daybreak, and in the upper right we have our friend and fellow chat person Natsuaga against the bottom left blue Protoss Hero. And they do throw out the good luck, have fun. Oh, even throwing out the Sir. Sir is very, very proper. And oh, this must have been right around the time that the seasons were ending. We could see the Forge Facet span probably from the Protoss though. And there was a lot of confusion with the ladders. I know that it was very, very odd, especially since I play on all 4 servers, just to get a feel for the different races and the different metas. But we see possibly a Nets' first if he scouts no early pool, which I don't know if he already went in there or not while I was talking. He's about to go in there now again, and he sees this drone going down for the 15 pool, or for the 15 hatch rather. Going for that Nets' first since he knows that no spawning pool is on the way. Very, very smart play. Does send this probe down here to make sure that the that the second base isn't taken at this base either. Something that I forget to do far more often than I would like to admit. Throwing down a pylon there too is just going to be extremely annoying at either point. Canceling this one just so he can save some of the mineral toss there, but we see this hatchery keeps trying to be made at one position or another. Doesn't throw down the pylon, now he does. Very annoying for the Zerd to deal with. He does want to spend his money in some way, shape, or form, so you will want to get at least one of these geysers, or, well, you never want to get 2 geysers on one base as Zerd, so you do want to get this geyser and get your spawning pool a little bit sooner since you know you are going to be a bit behind. The forge does go down, though, before the natural is taken, oddly enough, and the bases are taken at about the same point. He could have taken that natural base a lot sooner and been probably about 20 to 30 seconds ahead on that expansion timing, but he has not used that advantage. He does throw down the gateway though, almost completing this wall, and he will want to throw down another pylon here soon. I don't think this one can power all the entire wall, nor do you want it to. And he does have no gas taken yet. You want to get that around 20 supply. You want to take double gases and then either go into that Phoenix Flight or that 7-gate all-in, which I have started to use and is very effective, especially if it is not scouted. I had a game recently where I faked out a Zerg opponent who scouted my Stargate making a Phoenix. I canceled the Phoenix and then threw down 7 gateways and easily crushed him on that Star Station map. So that was a very good game for me. I believe it was streamed the other day, if not yesterday, then the day before. And I was very happy with that play as well as the PVT I played before that. So if you want to check that out from the Protoss perspective, especially at the Diamond level, since I am also at Diamond, we can definitely see what I did there, even though I, of course, am not nearly perfect, especially in my PVZ. I believe my PVT is a lot stronger. But that's neither here nor there. We do see the double gas coming down from the Protoss, and he will start getting that as well as the Cybercore. Does want to put a pylon somewhere in his main base so he can hide whatever tech he does decide to go for. That third base for the Zerd in an awkward position because he did not want to deal with this pylon, nor did he want to give his timing away on that third base. But we do see still no gas taken, surprisingly enough, but maybe he has some form of plan to just mass drones because he knows that Forge Facet Span will make the Protoss stay in his own base for quite some time, rather. If we look at the units, we see that there are more probes than drones due to that early pylon blocking the second hatchery from being able to go down and start producing units once it finished up. We do see that Stargate play that we normally see in ZVP, or PVZ rather, and we see both gases being taken at the same time. Does want to get that speed out a lot sooner and wants to get that gas so he can start teching up just a bit and fend off against anything that might come his way. But of course, spore crawlers do only cost those minerals now, so that way, well, they always have, but they're much easier to get to. So if he does see that Stardate play, then he will know exactly how to counter it. 2 more gases going down for Protoss. There are times where I would throw down another Stardate, and it is kind of all-in-ish, but at this point, since you did set the Zerd so far behind, you can sometimes do that, and it does catch them off guard if they don't scout it. Zerd's starting to get those minerals up there, though. He does want to find some way to spend those. He isn't supply bot. That is one issue that I do see. A lot of drones being made, however, and they are all rallied down to this third base. He does want to get some form of thought as to what Protoss is doing. He doesn't know anything about this. You definitely want to run an Overlord there. I think the timing is about 7 minutes, which you would definitely see what is going on. Making an Oracle, actually. I don't think an Oracle can even 1v1 a Queen. I might be wrong on that. I know it can 1v1 a Stalker, but that is not going against another Protoss. That is going straight for these Zerd bases. And there is not a Spore Crawler in sight because he has not started this. Not the biggest problem since he does have those queens, but it will hurt him if that Oracle does get into those mineral lines at all. So we do see the Roach Warren coming out as well as the Lair, and that will allow him to tech up and defend against this. He might just think that this is a hallucination, but now it is going to 1 versus 1. This queen apparently it can definitely 1 versus 1 a queen. Okay, that is news to me, and I am very happy to see that as a Protoss player. But this mineral line is just free for the Oracle to two-shot drones up to 8 kills, 9, 10, possibly getting 11th, yes, before he has to run away, possibly even a 12th. No, he does run away, almost dying to that queen, but he wanted to do as much damage as possible. 11 kills, 10 of those being drones, and 1 of those being a queen will definitely hurt the Zerg in the situation. You do want to have that stout so that way you know that Spore Crawler, because if you did stout that around the 7-minute mark, you would have that Spore Crawler about 20 to 30 seconds earlier than you did put it down, and that would have definitely denied any form of Oracle pressure, making that investment completely useless. We do have this Overlord turning into an Overseer. Probably will fly across the base, see what's going down. He will see 3 gates powered by 1 pylon, as well as a Colossi and a Phoenix coming out to pair up with the Void Ray. Somewhat odd composition to run with that Stargate, but we do see a Zealot being warped in here at this pylon that still hasn't been taken out. Want to make a few lanes just to take care of things like that and to take care of any probes that run across the map. So this Zealot will get at least 1 kill. I'd be surprised if he got another. Yeah, he does only get the 1, but he does delay mining time. Overlord's going down, it would seem, for Natsuaga, and that will cause him to be in a bit of a problem area. But these roaches will come out, and they will defend against these Zealots once he micros them over there. There we go. Twilight Council going down for the Protoss, and that will allow him to get those extra upgrades since his +1 is about to finish up. And +1 or 1/1 coming down from the Zerg, and he is about to take his 4th base. He feels confident in being able to defend that against a total of about 8 roaches, which he can with that Void Ray, as well as the Phoenix picking them up and the Colossi just doing that area of effect damage. It's very good on his part, but 8 Hydras are on the way now to deal with any form of airplay, as well as throwing out their extremely high DPS. So we will see possibly an attack from Natsuaga. He is ahead by about 30 supply, and has that 1/1 almost finishing up. It will be done just around the time that Protoss's +1 is done, so he will be ahead in those upgrades. The speed upgrade for the Hydras is not being researched yet. Maybe he doesn't want to attack just yet, but we do see more Overlords being picked off by this Phoenix right here. And he does get 1 kill. He probably will get at least 2 or 3, but that will be the end of his reign. And then he does probably want to get the Overlord upgrade for speed. Actually, that allows you to scout much more effectively, as well as it does to escape from these Phoenixes, or at least mitigate the amount of damage they can do. And more drones should be at the main. The other 2 bases are very well saturated, but the main has been lacking due to those buildings being produced. Those drones right now are all headed towards there, though I have the same issue when I play Zerg, where I will not make nearly enough drones to saturate my main, but my other bases will have an overabundance at times. Infestation Pit going down, however, does want to get that Hive Tech probably so he can get those Vipers and do a lot of damage to the Colossi when he adopts them and brings them into the Zerg army. This army, however, the Protoss does know that he is moving out, or that he has the possibility of moving out. He would want to attack this base. He doesn't know about it, though. Oh wait, he does, my bad, my apologies. And he could easily come in across this. There are literally no force fields for the Protoss, no sentries on the map. Not a very good move if you want to secure a base properly against any form of a Zerg army. But he has not been making those. He does have that +2 on the way. No 2/2 on the way yet. Now just starting from the Zerg, as well as that Hive Tech. Getting those upgrades, as well as that Spire. Very strong. Spire play is very strong against Protoss, especially when they are going for that Colossi Tech if you did go into Mutaplay at some point, or otherwise Corruptors in general are just strong against Void Rays as well as Colossi. Other than that, we see the gas is being taken at the 3rd, getting him that extra gas income, possibly throwing down, well, he does throw down a Templar Archives, so we can get those Archons as well as Storm. Storm being very strong against Hydralisks, especially when they are off creep, since they move so very slow. He needs to get that speed upgrade, though, for their speed off creep, makes them a little bit faster, and so that way they can deal with threats such as Storm and as Kiting. We do not see that yet, and we see +1 attack for air on the way. for the Zerg, as well as a fourth base, or rather a fifth base, I believe. I did not see this base go down. Too busy looking at other things, but we see an observer coming out. He doesn't need to stop that, but we see this army over here, and he can actually do some damage to those Void Rays, but now he needs to run away due to a total of 4 Colossi, and those are 4 very real Colossi. I know sometimes hallucinations are brought into play, but not in this case. So 10 Corruptors are on the way. Decent amount, but maybe not enough. I do not know the Corruptor to Colossi count. I know that the Viking to Colossi count is about 2 or 3 per Colossi. But the Corruptors I am not too aware of. I know that they do a higher DPS to those Colossi, but they do also have to get closer and will take extra damage. The Storm coming in for the toss, he will throw that down on the Hydra list as well as any Corruptors he can get if they stay in one spot. Needs to be making more probes. If we look at the workers, we see a total of, I think that says 64. It is hard to read. No, that is 84 drones rather, compared to 61 probes for the Protoss. Now up to a grand total of 100 drones on the dot. That is definitely the max you want to make. More drones the merrier, but you do need to have a decent army supply as well, and he will have that room. Making Ultralisk Cavern as well as those upgrades about to finish up, he will want to start that 3-3 as fast as possible since he has the money for it and the hive tech. And he will want to also get the melee attack as well, so that way when he has to transition to Ultralisk, he will be able to do the maximum amount of damage possible. Do see the Fleet Beacon coming out from the Protoss, however, and that if he does join a Tempest, that will hard counter those Ultralisk very easily, due to the fact that they do extra damage versus massive, as well as the Ultralisk not being able to claw up. They are not tall enough for that, even though they are pretty massive monsters. They are not able to do just that. But we do see this army moving out ahead by about 34 supply, and we will see what this army can do. It's just on the move command though. That is my first bit of advice if you were looking for advice. That those storms going down, these Corruptors will take down most of the Colossi. But they, at what cost, we say, because they are about to all die to these Stalkers and the Void Rays. He needs to take out that last Colossi. Resetting the Colossi count will be very helpful, but he will not be able to. These Overseers need to get out just for the sake of living. I don't think that he will be supply blocked anytime soon. He is actually at the max, at the least amount of Overlords he needs, though, so he will actually need to reproduce 2 of those, 2 or 3. Maybe even a few more if he wants to keep those with his army. The 3-3 is on the way though, compared to the 3-1 for the Protoss. Taking out this base that was on the way. 5th base for the Zerg rather is still here. Overlord's going down. He is completely supply blocked now by about 11 supply. He definitely wants to make some more Overlords. There they go. 2 Stargates on the way. He is going to switch to full Sky Toss if the scenario pops up where he does fight Ultralisk, which he does not know about yet, I do not believe. Yes, he does not know that the Ultralisk Cavern is on the way, but the Zerg does not know that this is on the way at all. So we see a fight going on over here. These roaches trying to get close to that Colossi and those Templar. You got to take out the big units for Protoss. That's the main thing. And he does try to transition these into Archons, but that's not going to save them at any rate. These roaches will all probably die. It would be a great time for Burrow, especially since there are no observers out in the field, except for, well, right here. Okay, that's me just not seeing things. That's neither here nor there. 26 roaches on the way as well. That 3-3 will finish up here soon. The Stargate's on the way though, and he has a lot of supply room to make as many Void Rays and Tempests as he chooses to do. These Stalkers will move in on the 3rd base for the Zerg, and with that Void Ray they will be able to do quite a bit of damage. Probably not taking it out since there are so many roaches still on the way coming down to support this base. But yes, he does run away, but he is getting free damage on those roaches with the Void Ray. I know he had a few Hydras in production, 2 of them right here, but that's about all. We have 9 Ultralisk on the way, but no melee upgrades. Probably wanted to get a 3rd Evo Chamber for that, just to get those out that much sooner. It's not too expensive to get that Evo Chamber, but we will see what he chooses to do. He does already have the Titanus plating, and the +3 armor will finish up, making them very tanky against anything that the Protoss has. But 4 Tempest will definitely do a lot of damage in comparison. Oh, he's already calling the GG. He must feel pretty good about this game so far. A lot of back and forth play, and the Protoss definitely getting some good engagements as well, but he is still behind in supply due to the great production from Natsuaga. He is going to try to move into this 4th base. I don't know how much damage he can do since he is focusing down those cannons. You do want to move straight into the mineral line, do as much damage as you possibly can. This army is pretty much left for dead, I believe, as it does straight on engage the the Protoss army. He probably wants to use the mass amount of bank he has, and he does make quite a few corruptors that will allow him to take care of the Tempest a lot easier if there are not too many Void Rays and Stalkers to take out those corruptors. Does still have quite a bit of bank and still has a lot of supply room to use. Mates 14 Hydras to fill that gap. Probably a pretty good investment. There aren't too many Templars on the field, if any, at this point. Yes, he has forgotten all about Templar Tet. The original Oracle is still in the game, though. Still just chilling out over here. So that's a nice bit of information. Maybe he can live on even if the Protoss does lose this match. The +1 melee finally starting up for the Zerg, making those Ultralisks do a lot more damage. This is the first time I have seen carriers in Heart of the Swarm, so kudos to the Protoss. Even if he is against our friend Natsuaga, I have always liked carriers in StarCraft 2, even if they have grown to be very ineffective against most compositions, if not all. Upgrades on the way, the shield upgrade, level 2, Protoss ground, level 2, as well as the air armor at level 1. I don't know why he's going for so many armor upgrades when he could just go for the attack, especially for the air. I believe he is already on +3 for ground, however. Yes, he is. This army moving out, so many Ultralisks on the field. He has a total of 9 that he was producing at one time. And these will move into this base here shortly, I believe. The Protoss does know about this, though. He did have an observer right here that the Hydralisk did not shoot down because the Overseers were not with the army at the time. And he is starting to get hit by those Tempest Blasts. They will do quite a bit of damage. These Ultralisks moving in here, they need to actually attack. And yes, they do finally start cleaving through all of these Stalkers very easily. The Templars are now with the army, but they aren't going to do too much since they are not full of energy just yet. Still need about 10 more. These Hydralisks will do quite a bit of damage to the Tempest, but I think there is just too many Tempest here to deal with. Look at the production tab. In retaliation, Zerg does throw down 21 Hydras at once. Very good. They are very strong against these Tempests, which are very slow and cannot kite indefinitely like most units can, especially in the air, such as Phoenix kiting Mutalisk or Oracles kiting most units due to their fast speed. We do have 4 more carriers on the way, though. I forgot about these, so we will have the Golden Fleet will arrive, and they will slowly, ever so slowly, take down these Ultralisks. The Ultralisks do have 5 armor, and these Interceptors only do a very minor amount of damage. I wish I could click on one and check, but I don't think they are targetable. The Interceptors do 6 damage and have 2 attacks, so they do a total of 1 damage, or about 2 damage per attack that they do, instead of 6 or 7 if he had those attack upgrades, but he does not have more than 1 attack upgrade, it would seem. He has that fleet beacon down. He could throw down another Cybercore and get those upgrades. This army has been cleared up, though, and he is making more Corruptors, taking a 7th base, rather. I need to work on my counting, it would seem. So yes, he is taking down a 7th base and getting that Hydra speed upgrade that he should have had quite a long time ago, but maybe that will be his wake-up call for the next time he has to face this. This base is being mined out. You do want to transfer some of the workers like he is now, selecting them now, sending some of them to the gas. He saw this mineral. You do want to, these mineral lines, you do want to transfer those now, especially since this base is completely open in terms of minerals. But over here we do see these Golden Fleet with a few ground supporting units taking out the base over here. This was a pretty long-standing base, and the drones do have to run away. Actually only getting about 100 or to 50 taken off from each of those mineral patches. I thought that was up for a little bit longer than what it actually was. 90 or 30 supply down for the Protoss, and that is a lot, or basically all taken up in the worker count. 85 to about 55, it looks like. And this base will be taken down. The 7th base is going to have to be canceled or just dropped. Probably not the preferred method, but he will lose a lot of these probes, or he will just focus down the Nexus. Either way, he is going to get this and will have to probably run away. Did he just kill his own Overseer? You gotta love those misclits. I have them too sometimes. This move command, though, you definitely want to just start using the attack command. That is something that will definitely hurt you, especially if you keep doing that. But these Hydras will clearing up the ground army, but the air army is what we now have to worry about. Enough Corruptors to do some damage and take out 1 or 2 of these, but with so many So many interceptors being thrown out by these carriers. Doesn't matter how many armor upgrades you have, they will eventually do some form of damage. And 22 Corruptors is his response to this. Probably pretty good since he knows he has taken out the ground army completely. He will probably lose this base now though, guaranteed. These carriers though, two of them extremely low. They will be getting that shield back at a pretty fast rate, but he will be able to punch through their shield relatively quickly with so many Corruptors. So many, 23 on the field as well as 11 more being created. Apparently he feels that 4 Ultralists can handle anything on the ground, which he's probably pretty much right about, except for Immortals do quite a bit of damage. About 65 versus that armored, and the Ultralists definitely are armored. But we will see what he has in store. He does have that +2 attack on the way for his air units. That +2 for the interceptors is already here though. And they will be taking quite a bit of damage. Killing some free probes though. That's a big pickup for the Zerg, more than what he knows since Protoss is only on those 2 bases. He does need any economy that he can have. And this base is basically mined out. Still 3 probes here, just kind of chilling out. This cannon going down before the Ultralist dies in a mass of plasma and whatever these tempests throw out, some form of lightning charge bolt. But anyways, we see the Corruptor fleet going against the Golden Armada here. Hopefully he doesn't have Templar Storm. I see a lot of Templar down there. I don't know if they have the energy. They definitely do. He does not want to sit in storms if there are any, but he is not using those at all. I don't even think that Blue is commanding this army. He is now throwing down those storms, but so many Corruptors out on the field, he will be able to take down this fleet very quickly. He just doesn't want to take too much damage. Even if he does take down the fleet, he doesn't want to throw away those units, and he is about to lose a few more to that storm. But he does take care of the final carrier, taking out the entire fleet, and once you reset the carrier or Tempest count for a Protoss fleet, you pretty much have won the game. So we see the 7th base being retaken once more, and we see 21 Hydras being made to counteract this army. He did see the army in its entirety. He knows that these have turned into Archons, so there is no threat of storm anytime soon. He's ahead by 30 supply, 40, now 50 supply, but he does lose the 7th base once more, trying to get that up, but it is not working. However, he is still ahead in economy compared to his Protoss partner, or Protoss opponent rather. The attack upgrade for the air will come into play if any more ships are made from the Protoss, but it doesn't look like he's going to. He has a total of 100 gas. That's his first problem, let alone the fact that he is on 2 bases worth of mining. And he is just now throwing down his remade 5th base. That will take some time. These Hydralists should be enough to take out this army if the Archons don't get too many good hits on them. You don't want to move into the army like you would normally against a Stalker force like this, due to the fact that those Archons will do that splash damage. Corruptor's trying to just flying over, get in a nice aerial view. Other than that, they won't do too much. The corruption ability would be nice, but it's too little too late. I don't know if throwing them away over the top of these units is the smartest thing to do, but 20 Hydras are being made in retaliation. He has a lot of gas, would like to see Infestors being made just for that funnel and to throw away that gas so he does not have so much built up, so he can use all of his money. This Hydra will die a very, very terrible death here momentarily. Possibly. Or all the units trying to run away. These Hydras will all die a very terrible death, especially the ones being rallied incorrectly. This is just him trying to he's somewhat throwing the game at this point, but 2 Void Rays are on the way. That base still being made. That Zealot trying to be a hero, trying to hold the line well. His buddies fell back to this base, but he died very quickly. This base will go down, however, not taking the drones even. You do usually want to run those to save them for as long as possible, but that is not going to happen. 38 drones on 1 base. That is what we call oversaturated, but this base is mined out, this base is mined out, this base is mined out. Even his 4th base is basically mined out. He definitely needs to get more income. He has run dry in all of his bases now, besides this bottom one. Luckily enough, though, the Protoss is only on those 2 bases. Now a 3rd one finally completing, but he has not had much production coming from that base yet, or much income rather. And this base has been known about for some time. This Observer has been here for a greater portion of the game. We will see what the Protoss chooses to do in the scenario. He doesn't have any force fields, which will allow these Hydralists to get in any position that they so choose. And he does need to kite back and forth, especially on the creep, and it will get a few free hits on this army. It's one thing that Hydralists can do is kite, especially with that speed upgrade now. so they will be able to catch any of these units, especially since Zealots do not have the charge upgrade. They will try to do some damage before all falling to the Hydralisk needles. 2 more Templar on the way, probably just going to make another Archon, unless he wants to depend on that storm, but he does not have any energy, assuming that the Zerg will not attack anytime soon. And he does have that tower vision now, so he will see exactly what's coming for him. So many Hydralisk. He has a total of 31 against 14 Stalkers. That's definitely going to do a lot of damage, even if those storms do hit, and the Void Rays are basically nullified against Hydralisk since they do so much damage against them. But we will see what happens in this engagement. Storm is just about ready. He needs to throw that down. He needs to throw that down now, but those Templar are just running away. I don't know what he's going to do here. Those Zealots can take a lot of damage, but since they don't have charge, they cannot get in the face of the Hydralisk, making them very, very null in this encounter. The Protoss is ahead by about 30 supply now, though, and Zerg is trying to get both of these bases at the same time. Hopefully, for his sake, he will finally get one of them. This observer has been chilling out here for a very long time. Maybe there should be an idle count instead of a kill count for the observer, just to see how well he's doing at his job, but that maybe somebody should send that into Blizzard. But since we don't have that, we don't know how long he's been there. More Templar being warped in, and if those storms land, Zerg will be in a very, very very bad spot to be in for Zerg. He will be able to kite those Zealots to death, but the rest of the army is slowly coming, and this base, while it is just now finishing, will be found and will be promptly destroyed. He probably wanted to cancel that. He had a little bit of time to before it finished, but maybe it was just too soon. And we will see a Colossi on the way finally, to also throw in with that extra AoE. The storms being quite effective, much more than what we would like to see for our Zerg friend. But these drones know their fate, it would so seem. So they have gone to the abyss, they have gone to the cannon wall, and these storms will finish or do quite a bit of damage to these Hydralisk. These Hydralisk will take quite a long time to regenerate those, but instead they will just run into another storm, and that looks like it won't go so well. He calls the GG finally, and that is the end of the game. Natsuaga not throwing us a victory this game, throwing us a replay of a defeat, which says something about his character as a whole. But anyways, that was probably due to tanking the storms, I'm gonna say. Not a very good thing to do with those Hydralisk. And the lack of scouting both early game and the very late game. You didn't know about the transition to Skytoss soon enough, which of course it didn't hurt you immediately, but you could have prepared for it better and had those Corruptors with the better upgrades. Honestly, we saw storms, but I believe that even Mutalisk destroy both Tempest and I believe even carriers in open combat if you focus down the carriers properly or throw in a few Corruptors with the Mutalisk. So I would definitely suggest that, but maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. I did like this composition from the Protoss and his many Tet switches, so good game for him, good game from both players, and thank you for that replay.